Hi, boys and girls. Oh, it feels like it's been forever since we've done one of our read alouds. We've been working so hard on those book talks, and I am so proud of you. I just love listening to all your book talks, and I've heard of some books I'd not heard of before that I cannot wait to read. So we only have a couple of these before the end of the year. So what I went ahead and did is I picked ones that I really thought you might be interested in, and ones that I just thought were really good for us. And so this first one that I'm going to read today is called Chickens Aren't the Only Ones. And this is by Ruth Heller. And it's great because Ruth Heller is actually a nonfiction book author. And it's a book about animals that lay eggs. So this book gives true information. And that's how we know it's a nonfiction book. What do you know about animals that lay eggs? Talk to someone, or just talk to me. I'm good with that. Okay, well, what's one animal that lays eggs? Or you may have a different one. Yeah, one animal that we see right here is a chicken, but there are so many more, and you may have said another one. Now, I want to read to find out what chickens do that other animals do too. So chickens aren't the only ones. Now, I'll try and back up a little bit so that you could see both pages. Chickens aren't the only ones. Excuse me. And Ruth Heller did not only write the book, she also drew all the illustrations. Okay? All right. Chickens lay the eggs you buy. I'm going to just move my chair over a little bit here. Okay, that's better. The eggs you boil or fry or dye. Yeah, did you maybe do that for Easter? Or leave alone so you can see what grew inside naturally. Such pretty colors. Chickens aren't the only ones. Now, where did you hear these words before? Chickens aren't the only ones. Where did you hear that before? Yeah, it is the title of the book, right? And chickens aren't the only ones to do what? That's right. You could see right here. See that right there? Every bird, wild or tame, does the same. The ostrich lays the largest egg, the hummingbird the smallest. And I'll show you this page, but then I want to show you this. Okay, here is the ostrich egg, and right there, that's the hummingbird egg. Look at the difference. Of course, we see the ostrich here, and here's the hummingbird, which is smaller than the ostrich egg. Crazy. Yeah, I mean, Look at that. Look at all these eggs that they have. And which one is the largest out of all the eggs? Yeah, and we learned that a hummingbird's is the smallest. And you look, there's some smaller eggs here, but this is the smallest. Chickens aren't the only ones. Most snakes lay eggs, and lizards too, and crocodiles and turtles do. So they've shown you some of the eggs and the different shapes that they are. Some here, some here. And dinosaurs who are extinct, but they were reptiles too. So here you can see. Frogs and toads and salamanders lay eggs, and when they hatch, they're tadpoles who grow legs and climb a lily pad, just like their mom and dad. They don't have claws or scaly skin. They are called amphibians. So frogs, toads, and salamanders are called amphibians. And newts, we have a lot of newts around here, but they all lay eggs. And you'll see what they're talking about, how they start here, they go right here, to they have a tail, then they start to grow legs, and then their arms and legs and tail, and then they become this. And salamanders are the same. They start as eggs, they have a big tail, and they slowly grow their legs. They look quite different, don't they, when they get older? Okay, I'm just going to kind of show you. So how are frogs and toads and salamanders like chickens? Turn and tell someone. How are they different? All right. And remember, you can always talk to me. I am always listening. Fish eggs float up to the surface or sink to the bottom of the ocean floor. So here's some that are floating up. Here's some that sink. Oh, wow. Look at those fish. Where are the fish eggs on this picture? What do they look like? Yeah, they look a lot like bubbles, don't they? Yeah, you would think that these are just some bubbles from them, from the fish, but they're actually eggs. What do you notice about these fish? Yeah, all of these fish are very colorful, aren't they? I've even got to see some of these fish in real life when I went on a trip to a place called Belize. I got to do a fishing trip, and we actually caught several of these, and we put them back. We didn't keep them. We put them back and let them live. But aren't these beautiful and colorful? This mother seahorse lays her eggs into the father's pouch. He keeps them there until they hatch, and then he's through. I think that's nice of him, don't you? These fathers, too, are helping out by guarding eggs, protected by their foamy mass that's floating by. And they won't leave until they're sure all the eggs have hatched. So here, Mama puts it in Daddy's pouch, and then the babies just sit in his pouch until they hatch. And here, do you see this right up here? This is where they have their eggs. So these kind of fish here, which we call betta fish, which is Pete the fish, they lay their eggs and they go up to the top, and then they blow a bunch of bubbles that look like foam, and it hides the eggs. And then they just stick around to make sure that they're protected. Isn't that cool? Yeah. These don't look like eggs to me, but they were laid in the sea. This one is by a shark. Oh, look at that. See it? This one by a ray is a mermaid's purse, they say. Look at that. Those are eggs. They look different than what we expect, but this is a shark egg and this is a ray egg. So these were laid, these guys here, these sharks here, laid this egg, and these rays laid this egg. It's almost similar to the shapes, aren't they? This one is almost shaped like this, and the ray's egg is shaped very similar to there. Wow, I didn't know that. That's why I love these nonfiction books. Even I learn a lot from them. Ooh, the octopus is said to shed 100,000 eggs and then to hang them up in strings attached to rocks or caves. 100,000? That's crazy. The moon snail's eggs are mixed with sand to form this collar-looking band. So this right here. Look at that. Now, these here are all the octopus eggs. That's what they're saying is 100,000 eggs. That's how many about are right here. Now, this, as I said, is the moon snail's egg right here. Okay? Now, what do you notice about the shape and color of these eggs? So let's look at the octopus eggs first. Okay? Is it similar in color? What does this remind you of? It kind of reminds me of maybe some seaweed or something. And these are hanging from caves, but very similar in color. And this almost looks like it's shell, doesn't it? Looks like it's almost part of the snail. That's really cool. Spiders wrap their eggs in sacks. And snails, you know, are very slow, but they lay eggs that hatch and grow. And so do. Now I'm going to stop. Have you ever seen an egg sack, a spider's egg sack? Oh, we have them everywhere out here. And then look at that. Those are snail eggs. And we know in our classroom we had some eggs with Maleficent, the other fish. And they just look like bumps on the side of the tank. Those were eggs. So cool. Oh my goodness gracious. Insects who have, so the last said, and so do. Insects who have 6 legs and lay many different kinds of eggs. This one will hatch into a hungry caterpillar who will grow and grow and grow and then climb up a stem and change into this, a chrysalis, and change again one summer morn. That's how, think. What's going to happen next? Did you see it? A butterfly is born. Oh my goodness. Look how beautiful that butterfly is. Yeah. And that's exactly how butterflies come about. They start as an egg, they grow into a caterpillar, and then they go into a chrysalis, and then they come out a butterfly. Animals with fur or hair who nurse their youngs and don't lay eggs are known as mammals or mammalia. Spiny anteater is this one here. This is a duckbill platypus. But these are 2 exceptions, and they both live in Australia. So I don't know if you've heard of the spiny anteater, but I know some of you have heard of the duckbill platypus because it's such an interesting animal. Well, what is interesting or special about these two mammals, these animals that have hair and fur? They both lay eggs. That's right. They are the only mammals that lay eggs. Just these two. And it's kind of cool they're both in Australia. Chickens aren't the only one. There's no more to discuss. Everyone who lays an egg is oviparous. Isn't that cool? And that's what they call animals that lay eggs. Look at all those animals. Wow. So many. So there's a lot of information in this book. A lot of information. Great information. What is one new thing you learned from it? You can tell me or tell someone in your house. What is one thing you learned from this? I'll show you the picture. Yeah, you may have learned that animals aren't the only, or birds, excuse me. Birds aren't the only ones who lay eggs. That's right. Were you surprised to find out that chickens aren't the only ones who lay eggs? Was that a surprise to you? Can you name some of the other animals that lay eggs? Now here's a whole picture of them, right? Got spiders and butterflies lay eggs that turn into caterpillars that turn into a chrysalis that turn into a butterfly. And we've got, of course, birds, frogs, dinosaurs lay eggs, a couple mammals that lay eggs, snails. Look at all those. Now, how are the different eggs in this book different from each other? So think about, are all the eggs the same shape, the same size, the same color? Think about with the book. How are they different? Yeah, they are different shapes and sizes and colors. They're also laid in different places, right? And in different ways. I mean, think about things like the spider, how they do it in the sack, to the octopus and where they do theirs. And even the seahorses and the betta fish, and how they lay their eggs and how they take care of them, right? All right. So what is the same about all the eggs in this book? All the eggs. What is the same? Try and get back to that last page. Yeah, they all have a baby inside of them, don't they? All eggs have a baby inside that's growing. Now, most animals stay with their eggs and protect them, or they find a way to protect them. Like sea turtles, for example, they don't stay with their eggs, but they bury them very deep in the sand to protect them. And that's how they make sure that their eggs are able to get through and hatch. Now, some animals go after eggs, and the parents have a hard time protecting them, but they all try. They all try to do that. Now, this book is nonfiction. How do you know that? How do you know, after reading this, how do you know that this book is nonfiction? Yeah, there are a lot of facts about animals that lay eggs. And not only about the animals, but about the eggs themselves, right? Yeah. Now, why do you think the author titled this book, Chickens Aren't the Only Ones? Well, some of you may have said, well, I thought chickens were the only ones that lay eggs, or birds were the only ones to lay eggs. And a lot of people, especially young people like kids, just know that chickens lay eggs because we eat them. And, and maybe we hatch them in the classroom or, things like that. And so they know that chickens have eggs. And this author Ruth Heller wanted you to know they're not the only ones. There are many more animals. Okay? So, such a cool book. All right, so for writing today, what I would like you to do is to pick one thing that you learned from this book. Okay? Just one thing. It could be anything that you learned from this book. And I want you to write a sentence or two about something you learned from this book. Okay? So it could be about that, which type of animal lays eggs. It could be what the eggs look like. It could be, you can write about where they lay eggs. You can write about a whole set of animals. You can pick one animal that's mentioned in this book. It's really up to you. But what I would like you to do is just pick one thing you learned, write a simple sentence, and then draw a quick picture. And if you are having a hard time with the sentence, draw the picture and tell me your sentence. Use the voice recording or video to show me your picture and tell me what your sentence is. But do try your very best. Again, all I want is your personal best. All right. Well, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed this book. I really picked it because I thought you might like to see all the animals and learn more about animals that lay eggs. And I know we all got kind of excited about chickens and chicks when they were in our classroom. So I just thought this might be a fun one. So I hope you enjoyed it. And remember to post on Seesaw your simple sentence and your picture, or your picture and tell me about your simple sentence. All right, guys, I can't wait to see you again. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.